swing. This is Big Red Birdies, where you hear all about life on a college golf team and life as a student athlete. Here are your hosts of Big Red Birdies, Nebraska golfers Mackenzie Bream and Arden Louchheim.
Hello, everyone. Welcome into the ticket here on this lovely Tuesday. Arden Louchheim alongside Mackenzie Bream on Big Red Birdies. And man, do we have a guest here tonight, Mac.
We've been waiting for this one.
Yeah, we've been kind of alluding to it the last few weeks. Coach Hall was maybe a little nervous about coming on, but I had said that you were coming on for a few weeks. I was glad that you decided to continue to want to come on the show. But we have our head coach, Brianne Hall, in for to be our guest tonight, Coach.
Yeah, thanks for having me. When you first sent me the text about this and it said it was at 9 p.m., I was a little worried because that's, as we all know, that's past my bedtime. So appreciated it being at 8 p.m.
Yeah. Well, you're going to get home at like 9:30.
Yeah, it's
a little late. Okay.
We're pushing it. We were just finished up practice today, and Coach Hall goes, I'm going to need a coffee before we do this.
Yeah, definitely have to give myself a pep talk before I be like, you got this. You're good. Stay awake.
You had to leave your house at 7:30. As you said, that was going to be a tough one for you. But we are very excited to have you here. Truly kind of the person that keeps our whole team running and directs us. So today we'll get a chance to talk a little bit about you and your journey here to Nebraska. It's your first year here as the head of our team, but definitely not your first year in coaching. So just some really quick accolades of Coach Hall. Like we mentioned, first year here, you coached 7 years over at Illinois State. You were a 3-time MVC Coach of the Year. The team won 3 MVC conference championships under you. You had 3 NCAA tournament appearances over the past 4 seasons, 3 MVC Golfers of the Year, 2 Newcomers of the Year, and 1 Freshman of the Year. We added those 2 little notes in after I was talking to you today. And your teams produced 5 of the best single-season scoring averages in school history over the past few years. So an incredible track record over at Illinois State. Also coached at UNC Asheville for their inaugural seasons before that. And then you were in instructional golf coaching before that. And you were a player, 3-time All-MAC selection at Toledo after beginning your career at Northern Kentucky. So we got a good one, guys.
She does it all. I thought, and in 2025, Illinois State won the Missouri Valley Conference by 31 strokes. I saw that and I was like, wow, that's incredible. Do you remember who got second?
That's a great question. I don't.
It doesn't matter.
They weren't concerned about
it.
I think that the team approach there was every day we just tried to win the day because sometimes you can get ahead and kind of lose sight of what we were trying to do. And so each day, all we were trying to do is just start that round by, can we go out and win the day? Mm-hmm. But that was a really special moment to have that be our 3rd championship, but also win by 31 strokes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So just going broadly more on how we got here, everyone kind of has their own journey with golf and how they got involved in it. What kind of drew you to the sport at first? And then how did you ultimately make the jump from junior golfer to collegiate player and then decide to go away from instructional at the golf pro level and go more towards college coaching?
Yeah, I grew up loving all sports. I played basketball, I played softball, I played golf. I'm lucky that my dad was smart enough to say, okay, you're not going to be the next WNBA star.
My dad and I had that same conversation.
And so that's when I kind of focused more on golf. And so I can still have, I still have special memories of my grandpa taking me out on the weekends and playing 9 holes. And so being able to go out on the golf course and play with my dad and my grandfather will always be special memories. And so that's kind of how I got started into the game and just really loved the game right from the beginning. There's so many challenges that push you day in and day out with golf. And so kind of that pursuit of perfection that we all try to grasp, that we know that's not attainable, but yet we still keep pushing for it. And so I then continued my collegiate career. I played 1 year at Northern Kentucky and then transferred to the University of Toledo. And that's kind of how I got into wanting to be a college coach. But I kind of went about it a different route. So after playing college golf, I still had aspirations to play professionally. Unfortunately, I didn't have any sponsorship. So the route I kind of thought about taking was, okay, I'm going to get into the golf business, work at a private country club, get to know some members, and then maybe build some sponsorships through the membership. And then you get working in the golf business and you get working 45, 50 hours a week. And next thing you know, your game takes a back seat. And so that's kind of what happened to me. And I wasn't able to work on my game day in and day out that I needed to. So I still played competitively in some state opens, but really kind of pursuing the professional career kind of got put aside. And And then I developed a passion for teaching the game. And so that's kind of how I got going into the PGA route. I got my Class A certification, spent time as an assistant professional, spent time as a head golf professional, was a year as a director of golf, and then got into director of instruction. And so just kind of continued pursuing my passion of teaching the game, and then got a really unique opportunity to start a program from scratch at UNC Asheville.
Yeah, kind of talk about that. Like, they didn't have a program at all, and what was that like getting players to come and like not having a program before?
I think that was actually like the year I spent recruiting and the 2 years I spent coaching there, those were my biggest growth periods, because, on paper, that hire probably didn't make a lot of sense to most people because I didn't have any coaching background. I hadn't been a volunteer assistant coach. I hadn't been an assistant coach. And I was just very blessed that the athletic director at UNC Asheville, Janet Cohn, believed in me and gave me an opportunity. And so I started a program. And here I am trying to talk players into coming and play for me. And they're like, where have you coached before? And I don't have any coaching background. But I had obviously my background in the PGA. And so it was just a really unique opportunity to grow and build something from scratch. And I think the biggest thing I learned from that was that, when you get in and you're a new coach, you're always trying to learn, and you're trying to listen to podcasts, and you're reading books, and you're trying to grasp, okay, what do the best in the business do? But at the end of the day, I had to be my authentic self. And that's what I took away from that job, was that, yes, I can learn and I can grow, and I can reach out to other coaches and try to learn how they do things. But at the end of the day, I still have to be me. And so that's kind of how I've always approached my coaching, is that at the end of the day, I need to be my authentic self, because that's who I am. I'm not a good version of someone else. And so that's what I try to do day in and day out, is just be me.
Mm-hmm. So then you got the opportunity at Illinois State. What made you leave UNC Asheville?
So I grew up in Grand Rapids, Michigan. So it was an opportunity to get a little closer to home. And then obviously just an opportunity to go from coaching in the Big South to the Missouri Valley Conference. So just kind of having more opportunities in that conference. And so it just made sense at that time to make that move.
Mm-hmm.
And then moving from MVC to Big Ten, what has that transition been like? Because I know, even just from my experience touring different schools during the recruiting period, Nebraska's different.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think, and it goes back to like when I talk about growing up, and I grew up in a sports family, like we loved all sports, and I grew up in a Big Ten family. So when I first got into college coaching, if I think back 10 years ago, I can tell you right now that one of my goals was always to coach in the Big Ten. And so when I got that call from Nebraska, it was kind of like that surreal moment of like, wow, this is really happening. But I didn't want it to just be any school in the Big Ten. I wanted it to be the right fit for me. And Nebraska checked all those boxes. It's from the top down. Our leadership and Troy Dannon, to all the support staff here, we really truly all have one goal, and that is to help our student athletes be the best that they can be. And then you look at it from a community standpoint. You don't see too many communities show up for all student athletes like the community here in Nebraska. And so when you see that and you say like Nebraska is a special place, it truly is a special place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we always talk about it because like there's no professional sports here. So it's like Nebraska, like, we are kind of the professional athletes, because like I'll go back home to Arizona and it's like people don't really look at ASU like they do Nebraska. So that's what I've realized a lot.
Because that's what we talked to about Olivia last week, was that, she grew up in Nebraska, and like if you grew up in Nebraska, you are a Nebraska fan. And like that's not the case in Arizona or for me in Utah. So as athletes, that's been super, super cool for kind of me and Mac to be a part of, and Olivia as well. So when you came here, you really inherited a roster. You had one person come with you, Jessica Jolly. What does that kind of mean to have a player? Obviously there are all of the draws that come with Nebraska, but I've talked to Jess. I know you were a big part of that. And like, what did that mean to have a player truly follow you?
Actually, that's the second player that's followed me. So when I was at UNC Asheville, Becca Black followed me to Illinois State. And then obviously my transition here, Jess followed me here. I think it kind of solidifies what you're trying to do as a coach, because obviously we're trying to build a positive team culture here. We're trying to build that championship culture. And when you have a player who believes in what you're doing and the vision that you're creating, I think it just really solidifies what you're doing as a coach, to have people believe in that and want to be a part of that.
Yeah, I also think like talking to a lot of the girls, it was really comforting. Like when you hear one of the girls is coming with your coach, you're like, okay, she's probably a pretty good coach.
Not that bad, right?
Yeah, it's like you don't follow a coach you don't like.
Yeah,
so,
right.
It was so comforting. It was such a funny experience for me. I was here on Jess's visit because it was during the summer, I think, or something like that. And she was funny because she was asking me questions about the school, but it was also only like the second time I'd met you. So I was asking her questions about you, and it was just like a very mutual relationship at that point of both gaining information. But yeah, I mean, it was very comforting to hear that. And just apparent from your first call, you talked about how it was kind of a tearful goodbye with your other team, which is also, on our end, we got a little bit of input in the coaching process, the picking the coach, but it was largely up to the people above us. And so when we're hearing, okay, like her girls are crying when she's leaving, her athletes coming with her, like those are all green flags for us.
I don't think Jess loved at the beginning because we asked her so many questions.
Poor Jess.
She was like, guys, you will figure it out. But we didn't want to like overload you with all the questions, so you'd ask her. But also, okay, so now we have 12 girls. Is this the biggest team you've ever coached, I'm assuming?
Yes.
12?
So I typically kind of my roster size has been right around 8. So having 12 on the roster is, here's the thing. It's always entertaining with you guys. Let's just put it that way, right? Like it's not a bad thing that there's 12 of you. I've learned a lot this year, and not just on the golf side of things, definitely educated and all the social media things. You guys keep me up on everything. But I mean, it's all the laughs that we can have as a group. And I think you guys know from my first day, that's so important to me to build a positive team culture. And that's all I've ever tried to do at any place that I've ever been is I try to build a culture that you want to be a part of even after you graduate. And I want you to walk away from here and be 10 years down the road and go, man, I absolutely loved my time as a student athlete. And so those have always been my goals in coaching, is to have my players walk out of here and one, know that I've made an impact in their life, but they also had a really fun time along the way.
Oh, we have a great time today. We showed Coach Hall the put it in a reverse tear vine. And she was laughing so hard. It was great.
I was in tears on that one. That was good.
It's awesome because Coach Hall you don't have social media.
Nope.
So we just get to show her all of these awesome videos.
Like, because I remember watching that that vine, like the first time it came out, and then watching Coach Hall enjoy it, like probably 10 years later since the videos come out, was so great. And then another person who followed you over here is our assistant coach, Lori. So she was your player last year, was supposed to be your GA, and then has kind of come over to be your assistant. What's that partnership like, of kind of having your relationship obviously change a bit, going from player to coach to now, colleagues?
Yeah, I think it kind of just builds on like what I was talking about with Jess, or having a player follow you. It's like, she was part of that, I'm coaching her, and she sees the culture that I'm trying to build, and she sees what I'm trying to do with the program. And now to have her work alongside me and us work together to build that environment, it's been really special. I almost said, I was thinking back, I'm like, man, it's been 2 weeks. No, it's been a month that she's been here. Time flies. But it's been really good having her here. I appreciate working alongside her and all the energy that she brings to this group.
Yeah, she's been great so far. So kind of moving into your coaching philosophy. So like, what exactly drew you to coaching, and like, what do you think you enjoy the most and get out of coaching?
That first question is so easy. What drew me into coaching was my student athlete experience. I loved my time as a student athlete. My teammates, they were like my second family. We're still a close-knit group. And then my college coach, I mean, she was a mentor to me. She had a huge impact in my life. And when I think back of, I can think back of even when I was going through the interview process for this job here at Nebraska, she was one of the first people I called. And my team at Illinois State, we were playing in the NCAA regional, and we were at the Ohio State site, and she came and walked with us for 9 holes of the practice round. And I kind of pulled her aside and was like, hey, this is what's going on. I'm in the interview process, and I'm human. I still have that shadow of doubt that like kicks in. Like, am I ready for this? Is this the right move for me? And to have her in my life and be that sounding board to just have that full belief of like, you've got this, you've done the work, you're ready for it. So having her as part of my life was really a big factor in me wanting to get into college coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And then, everybody talks about the last coaches, well, what's your most memorable win, or, what moment sticks out for you? And yeah, of course, the wins are very special. And I can think back, inaugural season at UNC Asheville, I had 6 freshmen on the team. We won a tournament in the spring. So, of course, my first win as a college coach was really special. And then I think back to my first MVC championship win. And of course, that's going to be special. But really, you have those trophies, you have those accolades, and you'll always have those memories that you can kind of put up on the wall. But what really matters most is when you have a student athlete that calls you 5 or 6 years down the road and says, hey, coach, I don't know if you know this, but you made an impact in my life, and I appreciate everything you've done for me. That's what it's all about. Like, you can talk about the wins all day long, but it really is. It's about the impacts that you make on your student athletes.
I'm excited to bother you for years.
That sounded like a threat. No, but I think you're very humble. You don't always like toot your own horn, but even in, you've been our coach for 6 months now. And I feel like a lot of your coaching philosophy kind of mirrors that of a lot of what we talk about. It's about, being very good golfers and we want to win, but it's also about being a really good teammate and being a really good student and being a really good daughter and all of those important things. So for me as a recruit, I wanted to come into college and have someone who's going to develop me as a golfer and as a human. And that's what I talk to every coach that I talk to about. And it was just so comforting to hear you come in and say that because, there's a level of nervousness that comes along with getting a new coach. And, I think myself and everyone on our team would agree that it's been a very nice transition.
Yeah. And I think just being a student athlete, like it can be a lot and it can be challenging, but like I'm genuinely excited to show up to practice every day. And like I just being able to walk in and see all my teammates and have so much fun. And like it doesn't even feel like practice because it's just so fun,
So speaking of practice, I think it's probably more obvious when it's basketball or something like that. You're running plays and doing stuff like that. But for maybe people who aren't as informed, what does a golf practice look like? And then on your end, how do you go about creating our plans?
Yeah, I think and you guys can remember back from the beginning of the season. I think those first 2 weeks, it kind of is more of a general plan because obviously I was trying to get to know you guys as people first, and then get to know you as student athletes and what can I do to help you get better. And so those first few weeks, it's kind of just doing more of a generalized plan. So you're focusing on some putting drills, some short game drills, maybe some TrackMan drills on the range. And then I think it gets easier in the standpoint of once you start getting more qualifying rounds, more tournament rounds, then we get all that data from the stats. And then we can start building individualized plans because maybe what something was, a strength for one person maybe wasn't a strength for another person. And so it's really kind of taking a deeper dive into that because again, like I said, at the end of the day, my ultimate job is to help you be the best you can be, whether that's on the golf course, in the classroom, or in the community. And so I think from our standpoint, Lori and I are always looking at ways, how can we push you? How can we challenge you? And how can we make you 1% better every day?
Mm-hmm. And you talked about kind of the generalized plan. We never really touched on, okay, you have 12 brand new girls. You're coming to Nebraska and you have no idea how any of us like our game or anything. What was that like? Kind of like, or I guess you saw a couple of us playing a tournament over Nebraska. It
was raining so hard though.
Yeah, I was like, what did I sign myself up for?
Oh yeah, it never like rains that hard here. And then Coach Hall came to watch us in the Nebraska Stadium over the summer, and it was just puking rain. It was wild.
That was rough. But yeah, just seeing all of us play for the first time, kind of what were you thinking there?
I think too, you walk in because you know how it goes. Qualifying starts so early that I think that gave me a little bit of cushion because it was like we started and we did 5 rounds of qualifying. So we did 3 that first weekend and then 2 the following weekend. So it gave me a lot of time to just watch and just observe. And you're looking at it. Obviously, yes, I'm looking at different aspects of your game, but there's more to it than that. And you guys know I talk about this all the time is big body language, right? We don't want to let our teammates know if we're having a bad day. We don't want anybody to know that. Your teammates 3 holes over shouldn't be able to be like, oh, Arden's struggling. I can see it. Her shoulders are slumped over. And so that was also something that before we kind of had our team talk is, you're watching those things as a new coach of, okay, how do they react after a bad hole? Are they able to just kind of like release that and get on to the next shot? Or do they carry that frustration with them and let that snowball? So I think there's a lot of learning that goes into it, and not just from like a technical standpoint. You're trying to learn a lot more of just how do they operate. And then, I think when we got into our Vision 54 session, I think that was a huge moment for me to really dive into more of like, you guys are identifying what we call my 54. And that's, what are you doing when you're at your best? And so we as coaches, we have to tap into those. We have to know what helps you, what motivates you. I think everybody is different, right? We as coaches, we hold you all to the same standards and expectations, but we coach you all differently because maybe one thing that motivates Mac doesn't motivate Arden on the course, or like vice versa. Maybe Arden is struggling and she wants to just have like a 10, 15 second vent session of how frustrated she is. And then she's good and she can move on. Or maybe Mac, you need to just laugh it off. You know what I mean?
So are we speaking from experience?
Yeah, well, maybe.
Seeming accurate.
But we actually were having this conversation in the sim room of just because I was talking to a couple players about it, and it's like I know when I walk up what I need to do to get this person out of, whatever maybe little funk that they're in, or maybe distract them with something funny, or And so it's always different things. It's never just always technical with a coach. It's always finding out what are ways that help you guys on the golf course that maybe motivate you.
Yeah. You spoke to kind of how each of it is individual. A big emphasis for you in our team meetings is kind of those broad themes that apply to our team. So whether that's the Mudita or bamboo or one, we've talked about a few of those things on here. How do you conclude which ones you want to share to our team? For this year, it's bamboo and stuff like that. Where how do you realize that, oh, I think this is the message that's going to resonate. This is the one that I want us to run with.
I mean, for me, one has always been my team motto, because no matter if the roster size is 5 or 12, we only need everyone. And I think it was really apparent to me walking into a roster of 12 that was definitely going to be what I led with. Because you guys know how it goes. I mean, it's a unique situation with college golf. You might have a roster of 12 but only maybe 5 or 6 are traveling at a time. And so your role in this team can change. So one week you can be in the travel squad, and the next week maybe you're sitting at home and you're kind of filling that cheerleader role of like being there for your teammates and supporting them. And so that's kind of why I started with the only need everyone, because if we are going to be at our best, it requires everyone pulling their own weight. And so I think that's why I chose to lead with that, was just because of the roster size and just letting everybody know that like everybody on this team plays a huge key role in what we're doing here. It's not just the travel team, it's everyone.
Awesome. Yeah, that's kind of a little bit about Coach Hall, our team, her first year here, all that good stuff. We're going to get into me and Mac's favorite segment of the golf debates and get Coach Hall's input on all of that. So we'll have a lot more fun stuff on the horizon right after this break on Big Red Birdies.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize to participate in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contests, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
Stop into Zollner Ford Beatrice and check out a brand new 2026 Ford Explorer for only $39,995. That's right, under $40,000 for a brand new Explorer, loaded with extras like Copilot 360, second row captain's chairs, and more. With approved credit, receive financing as low as 2.9%. Treat mom to a new Explorer for Valentine's Day this year from Zollner Ford Beatrice, Nebraska's volume dealer with the hometown service you expect. MSRP $45,175.
Things that impair you come in many different shapes and sizes. Some are the shape of beer and liquor bottles. Others look like cigarettes but aren't cigarettes at all. These are the things we know impair us, the things our parents warned us about. What we're not always aware of is our new prescription, or the over-the-counter medicine we picked up just for allergies or a bad cold. See, it doesn't just matter how much of a substance you take. If you are impaired, driving is deceptively dangerous. Don't drive impaired. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
In a world where Wi-Fi battles rage and bandwidth is never enough, one family dares to connect it all. Work from home, influence all day, stream all night, and game to win. Deadlines, downloads, and dance-offs, all happening under one roof, flawlessly. Can your internet provider do that? Fiber fuel your household at allofiber.com/all-in.
Hi, this is Doug Keller. When I started my first little body shop in Eustis back in 1979, I never dreamed it would grow to 8 locations and over 100 employees in Nebraska. I knew then, as I know now, that if you treat people right, they will keep coming back and also send their friends, which is why our tagline is, where our customers send their friends. I guess there are many things in life that change, but the golden rule never does.
The most recommended Eustis Body Shop. That's who we are.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road, just south of 14th and Highway 2.
Tired of your furnace running overtime this winter? Let Heartland of Nebraska Windows save the day. Upgrade to stunning, energy-saving triple-pane vinyl windows installed by their team of experts. Every window comes with a lifetime warranty on everything, all for a price you can actually afford. Free estimates, flawless replacements, and peace of mind from a family-owned business you can trust. Don't wait. Call Heartland of Nebraska Windows at 402-430-3852 or visit heartlandofnebraskawindows.com today.
Bauer Underground has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know that the best workers in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and a pedigree of success. They're offering top-notch benefits, a matching 401k, and a $600 per year clothing allowance. Bauer Underground, a family-friendly company with plenty of room for advancement.
You started your business to build something special. Now it's time to grow and protect it. At Pinnacle Bank, our treasury management services help you do just that. Through smarter payment technology, account administration, and fraud protection. So no matter the size of your business, you can get the most out of your financial operations. Request your free consultation at pinbank.com/consult. Pinnacle Bank, the way banking should be. Member FDIC.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now. In our new time, we're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Now back to Big Red Birdies on 93.7 The Ticket. Here are your hosts, Mackenzie Bream and Arden Louchheim.
Welcome back to Big Red Birdies. Arden Louchheim, Mackenzie Bream, alongside our head coach, Coach Hall. Before we jump into our debate section, you mentioned your grandpa earlier, and then we kind of moved past it. But I just wanted you to share why you have all of us call you Coach Hall, because I think that's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. So obviously, like I said, I have some of my best memories are out playing golf with my dad and my grandpa. But my grandpa was a coach of many sports. And so, when I think back, like a lot of times, my memories of him are a lot of people called him Coach Hall. And so I can remember it was probably one of my first weeks at UNC Asheville, and someone called me Coach Hall, and it just like, it hit. It was like one of those memories that like hit, and I was like, okay, I'm going to get emotional now. So that is why I, obviously you guys just call me Coach, but sometimes when people call me Coach Hall, it definitely takes me back and makes me think about my grandpa.
Yeah, I learned that during our first, few weeks, and I thought it was pretty cool. So it was always funny, trying to figure out what everyone wanted to be called because, just new coaches and everything. I asked Lori, and I was like, do you have a preference on like what you want to be called? And she was like, no, just call me anything except swear words. And I was like, okay, perfect. I can do that.
Well, I was telling Coach, Coach, do I call her Lori and I was like, I've just been avoiding. And Coach is like, that avoidance is not going to work. You need to figure that out.
These are life lessons I'm trying to teach you, Matt.
How long did you not say her name for?
Like a week.
That's kind of impressive. Good for you.
Yeah. I've still been meaning to bring you into the office and dive into that a little bit more.
Oh, great. I cannot wait.
It's going to show up on your teamwork, just like session with Coach.
Yeah. Along with line dancing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Kaylee, quick anecdote. Kaylee, one of our freshmen, Texas, very into line dancing. She took some of the team out line dancing this weekend. Every time I've walked into the locker room this week, she has been line dancing. And we were showing Coach Hall our performance today. And Coach Hall goes, oh, so you're going to have to teach me. So they're going to have their own lesson now.
Yes.
But you had some moves. You kind of showed them off.
I don't know if to call those moves.
She did the Cotton Eye Joe. It was pretty good.
I do not have some moves. It's not really for me, but that's okay. I can maybe get better. We'll try.
There's a video of Mac line dancing, and the entire room is facing one wall, and she's still facing the other wall.
I was focused on my feet.
She was looking at her feet, and everyone else had turned. So yeah, maybe golf is more in our future than line dancing.
Probably.
But we tried to have our debates today. They're still relevant to you because you played and stuff like that, but also you can also answer them from a coaching perspective. Just up to you, really. Would you rather? What do you think is more valuable, elite ball striking or elite short game?
Oh, short game.
I would have to agree. What do you think?
Yeah, I would also agree.
And reason being?
I mean, well, hopefully you're missing it in correct spots, but I mean, if you've got an elite short game, you can probably play pretty much anywhere.
Yeah. Right. That's my thing is like, if you just get it close to the hole and you can get up and down from anywhere, then it doesn't matter. So I think elite short game.
No, I agree. But one could argue, if I'm going to play devil's advocate, that if you have elite ball striking, you never need your short game.
You're
No,
gonna
I did
hit
think about that too.
Yeah, right. When I said my argument, I was like, it could go the other way.
But-
Yeah, but I just think it's so fun, especially in like match play. If you're playing against someone, you hit like a horrible iron shot, and then you just hit this great chip shot and get up and down, and just makes them so mad. I think
Because it screws with their mind a little bit.
It's great.
I just think there's so much creativity that can go with short game. And that's part of the recruiting process when you're watching players. It's like, okay, how do they see the different shots? Do they have just one standard stock shot that they try to hit around the green, or do they try to get a little creative? So I think that's where the kind of the mastery comes out of the short game.
Yeah.
No, I mean, we've talked about this. I think the most satisfying thing in golf is hitting like a really high soft chip shot where you're short-sighted, you don't have a lot of room to, and you just nip it so nicely. It's so fun. This Mac, like our freshman year, obviously you hadn't played golf that long. And so you're chipping, you were really, really good at kind of that stock shot. But like, I mean, I feel like you would say this too. Like you just didn't throw it up in the air as well.
No.
And then in between freshman and sophomore year, she came back and had this like nasty flop shot. And I was like, where did this come from?
I spent the entire summer doing that because all I would do is a bump and run, and that does not work in Nebraska golf because you have the thick rough that you have to figure out. But yeah.
So anyway, yeah, I would have to agree on short game. Coaching question. I feel like a lot of junior golfers have like the 60-degree epidemic where we all want to throw the ball up in the air. And I feel like even I deal with that. I guess would you rather have a kid who's super, super creative and is almost over complicating shots, or one that just has one shot that they're really good at?
Probably the creativity, right? Because then it's like they're looking at things differently, and they're visualizing it. It's like, okay, I see this shot, I see this low bump and run, or okay, this is going to have medium trajectory. This is where I'm going to land it. So I think the creativity side of it is just showing that they've taken that extra step to also practice all of that. Because I tell you guys all the time, like, don't just expect to hit a shot in tournaments that you haven't practiced. So it's putting the work in. So I think that also tells me a little bit about the recruit, that they've put the time in to be able to hit those different shots.
I also feel like then they're capable of doing it all, and then maybe you can coach them out of some of the decisions of maybe we shouldn't flop it here or something like that. Because if you just have a stock shot, then you have to learn the other ones.
One of my coaches always told me to go for the boy next door and not the super attractive jock. And that's really stuck with me. So yeah, it's a good one.
That's a new one there.
I'm going to start saying that.
Is it ever hard when you're with people out on the golf course and they see a certain shot that you don't see? Like to what point are you just going with what the player wants to do? And when do you feel like you have to step and be like, actually, no, you got to do a certain thing?
I think when they're taking on a shot that the reward doesn't outweigh the risk. But I think kind of how I approach it is I kind of want you guys to talk about the shot you see first. Even if I see something different, if it's along the lines of a short game shot, and maybe you see it as a high shot and I saw it more of like a bump into the bank and let it trickle on, or whatever that might be, at the end of the day, you have to execute the shot. And so my job is to create that buy-in and get that belief that is the best shot. And so even if sometimes maybe I see it differently, I'd never want to let you guys know that, because I want you to execute it to the best of your ability. And I think if a player's thinking, oh man, coach doesn't want me to hit this shot, then that kind of creates some doubt in your mind. But if I feel pretty strongly about a shot, I will definitely, I'm not afraid to back a player off and be like, okay, we need to discuss this a little bit more.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, our next one. If you're coaching a player and you're on a par 5, layup or go for it? Or is it just dependent on the person?
Dependent on
Yeah,
the
it's probably the
person.
same thing, like if the reward's worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mac, we're going to say lay up.
Why is that, coach?
Because you're deadly with your wedges.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
I like that.
Way to spin
answer.
that.
That was not spin. That is facts. But yeah, no, it definitely depends on the player. And then obviously, looking at the course management standpoint, does it make sense to send it? But I think so many times players are they just reach for a fairway wood and send it down there, and then they put themselves in an awkward yardage that they don't love. And so I think it's just always making sure we're taking that extra second to say, okay, if we're not going for it, making sure we're laying up into like what are kind of like go-to yardages.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're not big. I know some coaches will be like, get it as far down as you can. You think lay up to like a number that you're comfortable with.
I do know that philosophy of hitting it down there because, right, like the closer we are to the green, But for me, I didn't love a 30, 40-yard shot. So why would I lay up to that shot?
Right.
And so I understand the arguments on both sides of it to send it down there. But for me, I always felt more comfortable putting it into, I loved 55. And so that was a yardage that I always tried to lay up to. And so I think, we have a player on the team that I've kind of talked to about that strategy this year. And, she's each tournament has been under par on the par 5. So switching that strategy has been beneficial. So I think it just really depends on the person.
Yeah.
Next one, which is getting it's relevant now based on PGA Tour's decisions to not use them and stuff like that. But do you think yardage books matter more than feel?
Man. For me, and are you when you talk yardage books, are you talking like having access to the greens?
Yeah.
Oh,
Specifically greens.
Okay. Specifically greens. Okay. I have always used them as just like a reassurance because I, as you know, have started doing aim point.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've always kind of done it where I more feel it in my feet and maybe not necessarily had always done aim point until I kind of went through the certification process of it. And so I think the yardage book for me is just like to reaffirm what I'm feeling in my feet. And so I personally like to use it from that standpoint, but I understand where everybody comes at it from, pace of play and different things like that. But I think the yardage books are beneficial. And I think for us as a team, I think we could use them more. I'm glad you brought that spot in so I could bring that up.
Yeah, that is that is fair. I've always been more of a feel player and never really attempted that much to really look into my yardage book. So maybe that's an area for growth.
I think
it is an area.
Sometimes it's hard though, because we don't have a yardage book for everywhere we play, a lot of the times it's not often part of your routine. And so, I personally don't have a yardage book for Highlands. And so I'm going to go out and qualify this weekend and not have the book. So then I don't know, always for me, it was sometimes an adjustment in tournaments to decide whether I was going to use it or not. But I usually do. I haven't played a tournament doing aim point yet. So I'm interested to kind of have that experience and actually be using the slopes and stuff like that. But it definitely requires you to make sure you mark your pin and where your ball is correctly.
Yeah. And like I said, I understand where people are like, I am more of a feel player, but for you, Mac, when you bring that up, I think it could just give you that little bit of confidence of, okay, this is how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Double check it in the book. And then it's like, yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
Do you think that great golfers make great coaches, or do you think it's a separate skill set?
She's really giving the hard question.
I think it's my bedtime right now. Gosh, do I think great players make great coaches? Is that what the question was?
Yeah. Or do you think it's a different skill set?
That's a really tough question. I think that for me and my experience, it allowed me to pull from my student athlete experience. And I think that shaped me as a coach. So not necessarily does that touch on the great player side of things. But I think having that experience as a student athlete definitely shapes coaches in their philosophies.
No,
I'm trying to skirt that question.
No, it's a great answer. I'm honestly, that came from, you look at JJ Redick and Steve Kerr, who were both great players themselves. And I'm a basketball kid, so my mind's going to go to basketball.
Yeah.
But it's, you see those two and they're very successful, but you also have plenty of players who attempted coaching and, maybe flop a little bit. So in my opinion, obviously I've never been a coach, but I think that it's helpful to be a player, but I think it requires a different skill set because you have to be able to, articulate what you're saying and how you're feeling to players and get them to rally behind you. And I think there's a lot that goes into it other than playing. So
yeah, I would agree. And I think though, but you've been in our shoes and you know what it's like to be a student athlete. So almost having both of those is what's really helpful.
Yeah.
But not every great player would be a great coach.
Yeah. It's probably not an either or.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one. If you could change one rule in college golf, what would it be?
I think it would just be in golf in general. When your ball gets in a divot,
Thank
why
you.
can we
That's
not
what I
get
was
free
saying.
relief?
Yes. That's
the only right answer.
I don't understand. But
Yeah.
I guess you could be like, okay, well, what determines a divot? But then it could just be okay, you talk with your playing partners, and if you determine it's a divot.
I don't know. The number of divots so on hole 18 at the tournament we were just at in Central Florida, the number of divots that our team was in, it was
Really?
just you just want to run over there and be like, okay,
Mhm.
let's just.
It's just so painful when you stripe one down the
Yeah.
middle of the fairway and you're like, well, great.
No, they hit great layups right in front of the water, and then you watch it roll into a divot. But then the player walks up and you have to stay positive. You're like, you got this. No, a little back in the
It's not even
stance,
a
trap
divot.
it, you'll be just fine.
Yeah.
Do you think that carts, they are a part of college golf, but would you rather have a tournament with carts or with walking?
Definitely walking. I go back to when I was a player. That allowed me to get into my rhythm. And sometimes I just needed that walk from tee to approach shot to maybe just let a little frustration out. And then sometimes it's hard because you get in the cart and then you feel like you got to talk to the playing competitor.
Yep.
So I understand why some tournaments do it when it's based on maybe early on in the spring and we're trying to get 36 holes in a day and it's for a pace of play issue to get all 36 holes in, or maybe there's long walks from green to tee and it makes more sense to be in carts. I get those kind of things, but if I had my choice, it would definitely be walking.
I'm the same way.
I agree.
I get to my ball too fast when I'm in a cart.
And then I'm just waiting there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the second you get a quiet girl in your cart, it's brutal.
I know.
That was the nice part about our training trip in Arizona. It's like you're with your teammates. So that was really fun, but you're not always going to guarantee that you get, one of our 11 fun people. So that was our little debate section. We'll be back for our final segment on Big Red Birdies, where we might ask a couple more questions and really just look ahead to our upcoming tournaments in Texas and Arizona. But that will all be after the break here on 93.7 The Ticket.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing, and we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up, and we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
So as women, we're so hard on ourselves, and I just wanted a simple way to feel confident again and to feel like me again. And the Spectrum 7 at Max Tan gave me that little spark back and can also give it to you too. A full body light that makes my skin and my spirit feel brighter.
A new year means it's time to try new things. If you haven't tried Führer's cheese spread yet, the time is now. For the days you don't want to go to the gym, don't worry. Führer's cheese spread is there to cheer you up. And for the days you do get to the gym, why not celebrate when you get back with the best dip around? Get to your local grocery store today and load up on Führer's cheese spread. No event or party is complete without it on your table.
It happens. All of a sudden, you need a plumber. Just call Bryant, 467-1111. Problem solved with Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Dinner and a movie? You've done that. Arbor Axe House has a date night deal that really hits. This Valentine's Day, enjoy a special rate that includes an hour of axe throwing for 2, plus drinks and koozies. Reserve your lane today at arbораxe.com. Arbor Axe House, on the corner of N Street and Antelope Valley.
Winter is upon us. Is your home prepared? If your furnace isn't keeping up or you've thought about replacing it, John Henry's has a new year, new unit special. When you purchase a select heating and cooling system from John Henry's, we will give you the furnace for free. There are also equipment and LES rebates up to an additional $850. This offer expires February 28th, so don't miss out. Find out more at jhlincoln.com or give John Henry's a call or text today.
435-5555. Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
MWR, a local company of Lincoln, is proud to announce they are able to offer their own post-frame building packages in metal to anyone desiring a building, whether you're a contractor or a DIYer. They can install your building as always, and they offer multiple different rib profiles and loads of color options, including the wood grain metal at great competitive prices. You can inquire at mwrbuildingandfence.com or just draw your desired building and submit it in their contact us page and they'll get back to you. Call MWR today at 402-540-8966.
Nutrition Authority presents Fusion 30, an ultra premium protein ideal for anyone wanting to look, feel, and perform their best. Fusion 30 can only be found at Nutrition Authority. Stop in today for a free sample, visit with a certified nutritionist, and get better than internet pricing. For store info, visit mynutritionauthority.com.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just their professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, their passion for happier, healthier, furry friends.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Now back to Big Red Birdies on 93.7 The Ticket. Here are your hosts, Mackenzie Bream and Arden Louchheim.
Oops, sorry, that was loud. Welcome back into Big Red Birdies, our final segment here tonight. Arden Louchheim, Mackenzie Bream, and Coach Hall has joined us on the show for the full hour. I gave her the option to leave at any time, and she's still here.
She stayed along.
Pretty proud of that. But first off, we wanted to just quickly touch on our new sponsor, which is Red Zone Sports Bar and Grill. They are a locally owned and family operated restaurant right here in Lincoln at 3111 Northwest 12th Street in, like I said, right here in Lincoln. So we're very excited to have them jump on as a sponsor, get supported by the awesome businesses here in Lincoln. Speaking of Lincoln, we got some nice weather and we'll be out on the course this weekend to qualify. So we talked about it. We went to Arizona at the beginning of the semester to qualify, and we're still kind of having Arizona slightly influenced because we're averaging those as one of our rounds, but then we'll be out there for 3 this weekend.
Yeah, should be pretty fun.
Highlands opened up for us. So I'm excited because Sunday is Super Bowl Sunday. As everyone who has ever heard me talk on radio knows, I'm a big Seahawks fan. So I got permission from Coach Hall to wear my Seahawks jersey on Sunday.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, because we're playing, of course, with not as strict of a dress code.
Yeah. Polo is not required.
That's probably not flying at a couple of the other courses that we have the chance to play. But
no.
We just wanted to talk, to end this one off, Coach, about kind of your interests. One of them being 3D printing, as Matt can probably share too. You have so many just cool gadgets, and I don't know, I feel like I show up in our sim room and something new is there every day.
I will walk into her office and there's something new. I think like every week.
It's just, I think it kind of started when I was at Illinois State, where it was just, you try to get creative with your budget and how can you, save some money? And I'm like, oh, I could 3D print that. And then it just kind of became, for me, it's about printing stuff, not just for like myself and for my office, but like Arden today talking about, and then Hannah was also in the office talking about, oh, could you print this or print that? So it's really just about bringing joy to other people.
Yeah, I'm getting Seahawks chains printed and I'm really excited. Maybe I'll wear them on Sunday too. That depends on if they're done. I don't really know the turnaround time on 3D printing.
Working on them right now.
Oh, wow.
Wow. It's helpful in our sim room too. You made some tees, some buckets for the balls.
Yeah. And it's, we have our Husker Away chains and our qualifying chains. The qualifying chains, it's kind of like our version of like a home run chain, basically.
Mm-hmm.
The winner of qualifying or the low scorer in our tournament gets those chains until the next one. And then our Husker Away ones they're passed from player to player. And it's really just who exemplifies what we view as the Husker Way. So being a good teammate and showing up for each other, putting in work when no one is watching, that silent practice, and then loud success as you have in your office. So yeah, I think it's not just a fun thing that you do. It's also these really cool additions to our team. But what's your favorite thing that you've 3D printed?
It probably would be the chains.
Yeah.
Just because that was something that we started at Illinois State. And it was always fun. Like you're talking about whoever was low qualifier or low tournament. And just, having that time where you can pass it to your teammates and just recognize them. And I think we took it to that next level with the Husker Way chains because, having 12 people on the team, you guys do things that maybe I don't always see. And so when you guys send out the text to say which teammate's going to get the chains for that Wednesday, I always enjoy reading those texts and hearing from you guys and how you guys are showing up and supporting each other is really cool.
So do you like your 3D printing or your dogs better?
If I could have a huge 100 acres and just own as many dogs as possible, I would.
You would have like 100. How many dogs have you had in your lifetime? Is it just your 3 right now?
No, I think that's been 6 dogs.
6 dogs.
Yeah, I have
Wow.
three right now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mac knows your 3 dogs pretty well.
Are they well behaved?
I love them. They seem really well behaved for me.
They're not for me.
Yeah, Mac has gotten some quality time over with the dogs.
Yes.
Which one's your favorite?
Dutton.
Yeah.
I think.
Is that your favorite too?
That's definitely my favorite.
Oh, okay.
It's like a parent. You're not supposed to have favorites. You have favorites.
Yeah.
No, I directed that question over to Mac, but I guess you answered it too. I didn't know. I didn't want to make it, didn't want to make you choose a favorite child.
Oh no, that's easy.
Is it fully just lost my train of thought, but we can keep going with that one. Oh, here, this is what I was going to talk about. The only times that I would say probably you're okay with maybe leaving your dogs is for our tournaments. But is that the major downside of tournaments?
Oh yeah. No, I'm just no, I mean obviously I would consider myself more of a homebody. I do, enjoy my time at home with my dogs, but being on the road with you guys, like I said, it's always entertaining, but I love the passion and the competitive drive that you guys bring. And so while I do miss my dogs while I'm traveling, I absolutely love what I do. I don't feel like I work a day in my life. And I think that's, when you can find passion in a job like that, it makes it easy to show up every day.
You have your own 12 children.
I do.
We like to joke about.
Yeah. Coach Hall said in the first semester that she doesn't have motherly instinct. And we were like, you have 12 kids.
You have 12 of them.
But speaking of that competition, we're going to Texas in a couple weekends, February 16th and 17th. Quick turnaround over to Westbrook, which I know all of us on the team who have been to Westbrook are very excited for you to experience that as head coach because it's a pretty phenomenal tournament. But and then we obviously round out with Big Ten championships and hopefully more golf after that. But what are you most looking forward to, or just kind of what excites you about the spring that we have set up?
I think we've got a really competitive schedule set up this spring, one that challenges us each week. But it goes back to what I talked about, at the beginning of the spring, is that our goal is that every week we're going to show up, and how we kind of talk about watering the bamboo. We're going to show up day in and day out, and we're going to be brilliant at the basics, and we're going to do the little things the right way. And every day we're just going to try to push ourselves. So that way, when it comes time for, April 24th through the 26th for the Big Tens, we're ready. So I think that's what this spring is all about. Just each tournament. How can we find areas to grow and get better? And then that way we're just at our best come, late April.
I feel like you got a sneak peek of Westbrook because we did qualify there. So there was still some Husker fans out.
Yeah. I mean, everywhere we go, even in the airports, the number of people that yell out, "Go Big Red." It's so awesome.
It's awesome. Yeah.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Like we said, past your bedtime. So we really, really appreciate it. But that was Arden Louchheim, Mackenzie Bream, and head coach Brianne Hall here on Big Red Birdies. We will be back with you next Tuesday. We're hoping to get our assistant coach on at some point and then keep coming in with different players, maybe get some of the men's team in here at some point, stuff like that. But we're really thankful that you guys joined us here on this Tuesday night, and we'll speak to you next week.